Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Science Excel. This is episode 10, and today we're going to go over smallest worthwhile change. So SWC is commonly used to assess meaningful changes in performance. This is very valuable as a practitioner, strength and conditioning coach, sports scientist, whatever it is, whatever you may be, to help establish whether or not your athletes are actually improving, okay? So one thing that I always like to do is make sure that you have an area that highlights some of the the variables that you need to account for when you're testing. So this way you can keep track of that when you're scheduling your post-test. You can look at your pre-test and see the time of day, the temperature, where you were when you did your pre-test, okay? So this, you can see I just have input for football is January 1st. Indoor turf, 3 p.m., 72 degrees. Testing indoors is always a good idea that way you don't have to, account for changes in temperature. It's pretty consistent across the board and makes things a little bit easier on you. So now that we got that in, I want to first address this table down here that is used to establish these limits for the athletes, okay? So first, this being smallest worthwhile change, this is a simple calculation that is the standard deviation times 0.2. So simply you're taking the standard deviation of their best from the 3 trials and multiplying that by 0.2, and that's giving you their smallest worthwhile change, which is again a limit to assess a meaningful change of performance. And then below that, we have coefficient variance expressed in seconds. This calculation, you can see, is taking the average divided by 100 and then multiplied by the CV expressed as a percentage. And we'll get into these columns in a second, okay? So that's going to give you a second limit, and then you just have 2 times the CV, all right? So just taking that, multiplying it by 2, it's giving you a third limit to establish changes in performance. So now that we've gone over this table, we know these calculations, how they're being calculated and the purpose of these calculations. Let's go up here where I have some calculations already embedded and ready to go. So this column is pulling their best of the 3 trials. So it being a time trial, the lower the score, the better. It's simply set up as pulling the minimum from their 3 trials, okay? So input that and then make sure you drag it all the way down. Here you can see it's pulling the minimum from those 3. And then the coefficient variance expressed as a percentage is going to be calculated taking the standard deviation, dividing by the average, and then multiplying that by 100 to express it as a percentage, okay? Again, all you gotta do is input that, drag it down, and everything should follow, okay? And this is another column expressing their best from the 3 trials, so it's just pulling from that. You obviously don't need that column there. I just like to lump it together with their limits, just so you can look at it all in one place there. And now to find their individual smallest worthwhile change, all you're going to do, as you can see, is you're going to take their best, which you can see it's behind this calculation here. Let me pull it up like this. So you're taking their best and then you're subtracting the smallest worthwhile change from that, which is going to help establish a limit, okay? So you're going to do that for all of your athletes. And then now for the CV, you're just going to take their best and subtract CV down here and 2CV. You're going to subtract that from their best, okay? So simple enough. And you can see here how I have absolute cell referencing as well as relative cell referencing. This is really important. Just helps you drag and drop, makes it real simple. If you want to learn more about cell referencing, look back on, I think, my episode number 9, I talk more about that, and I think that be pretty valuable here. So go check out that video if you have a second. Okay. Let me just fix this format here, make sure it looks nice. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take, you can see I have these random 40-yard dash times. I'm just going to paste them in as values. Come here and clear these. So now I have all of their values in. You can see everything automatically updated. And now not only do I have each of my athletes' best time, but I have their limits, okay? I have their limits to assess meaningful change, which is going to help establish goals. I'm going to be able to set goals for them and make sure that they're progressing towards these goals. And also I know that, if these certain goals are attained, that this can be due to a change in performance as opposed to it being user error or technology error, whatever it may be. So I have these 3 limits, which are often referred to as this being trivial, whether it's an actual change in performance, could possibly be user error. This is more possible than the 2CV. Many people refer to as a certain meaningful change in performance. All right. So also keep in mind that you're going to need more than 10 athletes, and everybody's going to be different depending on the sport. So if that's the case, then you can always come here, drag this down however far you need, and we're going to have some formatting issues with this that we'll have to fix. But you can drag that down, and I could fix those. I could go back and fix those borders, and just come in here, adjust the calculations so it covers all my athletes. Go through, adjust everything, and then I can house as many athletes as I need to. Another thing that I find helpful is you can use this. This can be your go-to table for any test that you need to do. You don't need to create another table. For example, if we were getting ready for the combine, doing multiple tests, 40-yard dash, pro agility, 5'10", 5, whatever it may be, this can continue to be my running table, where once I'm done with the 40-yard dash, I'd simply just paste it down below, come up to the trials, clear contents, and now I'm ready to roll with whatever it is that I need to run, okay? So you can just keep one table as your working table and copy paste as needed. You could create another tab, a pre-post tab, and copy and paste there. But I like just to keep it condensed, where I'm just working off one table that I can reuse over and over instead of having to create multiple tables, for example. So this is my smallest worthwhile change sheet, and I hope you found that useful. I hope you learned enough to create your own sheet, and you're all, like I said before, you're always more than welcome to reach out to me and request this sheet, and I'll save it as its own workbook and send it over to you. And if you have any questions on how to use it, or if there's anything you need to change, then just let me know and I'll be happy to help. So please check out my other videos. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And as always, reach out to me and let me know whatever it is that you'd like to learn and that could bring the most value to you in what you do and your athletes. All right. Have a good one.